subscribe to this video, comment on this video. Let's get into this. All right, guys. Very interesting topic today. I know a lot of people struggle with this. I know I do. I aspire to one day, be a part of this. But the topic today is sex versus celibacy. Should you or should you not? Figuring out new ways to stimulate the relationship revelation. So we're just going to get right on into it. Celibacy. Man, I'm going to tell y'all something, though. I'm going to just go ahead and start it off, man. It's something I always knew. I always knew that it's the right thing to do. But, world, sometimes the world get the best of you and, you to participate in worldly things. I'm not going to lie. We all have, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I know it's the right thing to do, but it's all about when I'm ready. You know what I mean? Because for me, man, we all still struggle with our demons. We all have our vices. We all have certain things that we're kind of working through right now. And I always told myself, when I'm in the right state of mind, I'll be ready to take that journey. You know what I mean? But I respect it because you're hearing more people talk about it now. Like it's a thing. But I was like, okay, after you done did all that, now all of a sudden you want to be celibate. But I got to respect it. So I'm just going into it, man. So why is celibacy such a challenge for most people? And anybody can just kind of hop into it. Why do you think that's just such a big challenge considering we live in the world?
Ladies first.
Oh, no, I was going to piggyback off of you.
Well, I would say, so we live in a hypersexual world, society. It's down to the point where it's in our children movies. Because have y'all seen a Pixar mom?
No.
Like the Disney Pixar mom?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
They have them like
they be thick,
shaped up.
Oh, they be
voluptuous.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah, even on cartoons.
So
and
everything.
Yeah.
But that comes to show you how far removed I am from kids shows. If I don't have any kids,
well,
I'm
I
not
have
watching
kids.
it. It's crazy.
Even with anime is really big. Like Japanese culture is really big on fan service. So you cannot watch a TV show now without some hypersexual activity, whether it's aggressively making out or they're being overly graphic with their intimate scenes. So, I mean, if you're watching, you can watch any TV show and you're gonna fall into, that lustful spirit. Like you're just watching a Tyler Perry movie, and then next thing you know, you're like, why do I feel horny? Because you're watching even the music, down to the music. You have rappers, R&B singers, even female rappers. It's all sex, and they say sex sells, and that's true in any industry. Sex is what sells. So
at least the appeal of it,
Yeah,
So
that's why it's hard to for anybody to what's the word? Abstain. Yep, I'm smart. I know big words, but it's hard for people to stay away from it. Is because of the media and
The culture.
and then even at a young age, even in middle school, elementary school, every boy in school lied about not being a virgin.
I know I have, man. That's so relatable.
So you're trying to be cool to your brothers, your cousins, and your friends. You go out and you're like, I gotta get my body count up. So once you get your body count up, it's like, okay, I'm cool now. But that's a false narrative. And I believe everybody should wait till marriage, but that's just my opinion. Well, it's not my opinion, but
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? When my mom used to say wait till marriage, and then you had your older brother saying, look, brother, you're supposed to have all these girls. You're supposed to be knocking them down. You're supposed to be doing all this. I was kind of going to war with myself, but then I kind of sided with my brothers. And I said, wait till marriage? That's crazy. Because you're thinking when you're young, waiting till marriage, that's a lifetime away.
Well, you're less of a man if you have a low body count. And women are less of a woman if they have a high body count. So it's just like, if a woman have double digits, she's HO3. And if a man has less than 5, he's undesirable. So that's just the world we live in.
Good stuff. So let me ask you guys this. When it comes to celibacy, what does celibacy, being celibate, prepare you for? If you're saying, okay, I'm going to be celibate, what is it preparing you for?
Well, celibacy I don't know if we're gonna talk about it. The difference between
let's get into that before we get that. Let's do the definition because a lot of people don't know the difference between abstinence and celibacy.
Right.
And
I know I don't.
Yeah, so abstinence is more usually a shorter term thing. Sometimes people can say they because they can abstain for multiple reasons, maybe a career or they move somewhere or whatever the case may be. There's multiple reasons why people may say they want to abstain. It's more of a short term, not really a lot of goals behind it. Sometimes when people do abstain, they still also masturbate or use pornography or whatever. But when you say celibacy, that is, you're unmarried, you're waiting until marriage. There's more. It's tied to religious beliefs. It's more intentional. It's a lifestyle. You have goals. It's more. Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is more intentional because you don't know when you say I'm gonna wait till married. And I know people who might have waited like 5 years or 6 years. You don't know, but you're just going out there you're committing yourself because of that's where you're at spiritually in your walk and your faith and everything. And you're like, it doesn't matter how long it takes until I get married. This is the journey I'm on. So those are the differences that sometimes people get confused, like you said, or use interchangeably. And then your question was, what are the benefits? Or
what does being celibate prepare you for? What is it preparing you for? Because when you make that conscious decision to be celibate, and say, you know what, I'm not going to go with the ways of the world now. Let me do something that's unpopular. You know what I mean? So, and this is what it's preparing me for.
So I would say, for me on my journey, it definitely prepares you to be definitely super close to God, right? We talk about it, or in my beliefs, in my religious beliefs, what I stand on is you're supposed to abstain before marriage, right? Regardless of what we try to justify it, we know that's what it says in the Bible. That's God's word, okay? And when you get to a place where that you are, because he calls us all to be holy, especially when you're a child of God, and he's calling us to be holy, right? And so when you get to a place where you're like, I don't care what society says, I want to go through this sanctification process to be closer to God and be holy in this area, because we know with our bodies are a temple. We know there's a big thing about soul ties and all that. There's a lot on that, right? And so when you really understand why he intended sex to be for marriage between a married couple, you take a step back and you really appreciate, like, okay, it's not like he's doing it because it's a rule. He's doing it because to protect us, because he loves us, because look at everything that comes when you do have sex outside of marriage, right? Yeah. It's a lot of stuff, a heavy stuff, emotionally,
oops, baby.
Mentally, it's spiritually, it's a lot of different things that come from it. And so when you start to really just think about the God's intention and how much he loves us, and really desiring to not do it to, I'm being celibate because I want to have a husband. No, okay. I'm doing it because that's the least I could do because he sacrificed for me, right? It's about a lifestyle, right? And it's mentally, so it prepares you mentally. You get to focus in different areas of your life. You have peace. You have you are able to resolve past traumas and hurts from different relationship which might be associated to sex.
That's
usually,
awesome.
Especially with women, because we're emotional, and so it's a lot. It's definitely a lot of benefits, and I think that's why you see in today's society a lot of people are coming out speaking about it, and not scared, because I think in the past people would be scared to say it or profess it, especially men. But you do see more men sharing it and different things, and how Lenny Kravitz, he's like a big sex symbol, but he was celibate for 9 years. And he wasn't abstinence, he was celibate. So again, there's a different intention behind it.
Makes sense.
And things like that. Like Omarion said, he was celibate for like 3 years. And so you're seeing a lot of different male athletes and male figures come out and say, hey, I was on this journey and this is why, and this is the benefit, especially from y'all men. Because when y'all have discipline over down there.
The discipline?
Yeah, it's like, it's amazing, because that's super hard for you guys, right? Nah. And so So that's from my perspective.
And that's good. And I'm glad you highlighted that, because I always thought when people are celibate, they saving themselves to marriage for their husband, but you never hear about the other side of it, better lifestyle. You think clearly, you get a lot more done. You can hear past traumas, you get closer to God. I always hear the marriage talking point. So I think that's very eye-opening and awesome for you to kind of pinpoint God.
I think people instantly think that when they first hear celibate, that person's waiting to a marriage. Some people just waiting till they get in like a committed relationship, and they just don't want to run up their body count and stuff like that. So, or they just.
But that would be more abstinence, right? If you're saying you just don't want to run up the body count, that would.
I guess the verbiage,
that would be more abstinence.
That'd be more
if they're
abstinence.
not waiting, because to your point, some people, if they don't desire to get married, then they're just abstaining until, to your point, they're in a committed relationship or whatever.
I would say at the end of it, because all of my basically everything I'm gonna say is based off of what the Bible say about it. But the biggest thing on why you should be celibate is to be obedient to God. And Jesus said in Matthew, can't remember if it was 6 or 7. It was Matthew something. But he said, if you love me, you keep my commandments. Yep. So if we are, as Christians, I would say, if we are partaking in sexual activities, whether it's having a partner, masturbating, pornography, whatever, you're not keeping the commandments because you're living in that sin. So the biggest thing why people should be